Hello, this is a presentation on project planning, and my name is Ronald Isop. Sorry, I lost my voice a month ago, and it's still recovering. Thank you. Project phases. In the health admin project management, there's about 5 phases. Well, in the IT project management, there are 6 phases. They are pretty much similar. We start with initiate, and then we have the plan, execute, and this is where a difference where we have the control, while on the IT side we have the monitor control. This is because during the IT side, there's every single component is tested, and every time it's added into the product, it performs regressive tests. Anytime there's a failure, you have to retest the product and perform regressive tests. After that, we close the project through an acceptance of the project by the client. The planning phase is mainly after the initiating phase, and during the initiating phase, information is gathered to identify the problem or inefficiency within a department or a process. But during the planning phase, it's an agreement between the contractor, the client, and any other stakeholders on the proposed product or solution that will resolve this inefficiency or problem. So what is created during the plan phase? One of the first things that's created is the project scope, which is a written agreement between the client and contractor, which describes all the requirements, business needs, deliverables, and the purpose for the project. It refers to all the process that's involved in creating the project and defines what is or not to be done. You also can create, it also creates a work breakdown structure, and then after there, you can create the project schedule, resource assessment, budget, slack time, and critical path. So work breakdown structure. What it is a dissection of the project scope, and it lists all the tasks, subtasks, deliverables, and milestones. Now, each component are categorized in a hierarchical format, where it's initially done by phase, and then each phase is going to have a set of tasks. Then said tasks can be broken down into subtasks, and so forth, including your deliverables and milestones, and usually most of the times ending during the sequence of a set of subtasks or tasks. This is based on the project scope. So through this, you can develop some sort of initial assessment of your resources that you require for supplies, equipment, and personnel. So this is a work breakdown structure. I wasn't able to compile the whole entire work breakdown structure into this image, so I condensed it into all the phases and only just the tasks assigned to them. But during this time, you would state all your tasks and subtasks that would be involved and give out a duration time. The duration time for the phases is based off your subtasks and tasks. And then your predecessors would be obviously assigned to all your tasks, subtasks, and even some of your phases. So critical path. The purpose of this method is to provide a visual representation of how quickly a project can be completed, which is based on the tasks and subtasks performed in order based on presence and the time required for each component to be completed. The longest path within the visual representation of the critical path is actually the critical path. Any part of those tasks that gets affected will adjust the completion date of the project. So it is very important to have all those tasks that are on the critical path to be prioritized versus the ones that are not. This is a visual representation of a schedule, and on the right side, it's actually a visual representation of the schedule. Everything in red is actually your critical path task, set of tasks. So anything within the critical path, a lot of times they're going to have predecessors, and anything that's get affected within red will affect the completion date of the project. That's going to end up costing money and usually require also more resources. So everything in blue is actually not affecting it. So they can actually take additional time to work with. I still wouldn't recommend that because you're only setting a lot amount of time based on the agreement between the contractor and the client themselves. So the project schedule, which is based off the work breakdown structure and the scope, but unlike the work breakdown structure, it gives project managers a visual representation of the development of the project itself, and it shows constraints that were not initially noticed. Usually, these constraints can be due to resource assessments between tasks and subtasks, where a certain staff member who is has a specific set of skills is tasked for two tasks that are run that are scheduled during the same time. So obviously, that staff member cannot be double booked. He can only work on one task before he can move on to the next one. And here is what project schedule would look like on Microsoft Project Manager. And on the left side, you have the list of your schedule. It shows all the tasks, phases involving the project, and whatever your resources requirements are, and your precedents. You also give out the dates on when they can be completed. On the left side is a visual representation of the schedule itself. Lastly, we have milestones and deliverables. So milestones are described as a completion of sequence of subtasks or tasks. They are recognized within the scope and are shown within the schedule as some sort of marker. Now, they don't have a set duration within the schedule themselves. Instead, they're purely run on of precedence of tasks and subtasks. While deliverables are a required component of project scope, they are actually a physical byproduct of the project. This could be a completion of a requirement, process, or documentation. A lot of times, these products of these byproducts are not necessarily a tangible object, but they can be also some sort of like a digital signature of some sort of form that was received. Project schedule is considered a deliverable, so is the scope, and even the work breakdown schedule is also considered some sort of deliverable. A lot of times with new people working in projects that have really experienced it, they often confuse milestones and deliverables, and the truth, they are not the same thing. Milestones are a marker in time, while deliverables are a byproduct object that is created during the build of the project itself. And this is the end of the presentation. Thank you.